set up the backhand again. Really aggressive maneuvers. John Start, he's going to pull into the barrel on this one. Stays deep, comes flying out. Off the bottom, a huge layback carve.
Welcome back to finals day here at the Quik Pro. We're going to get things started now with semi-final number 1, Matt Wilkinson, who took this contest out last year. He's going up against John Florence, who's already on his way to his best ever finish here on the Gold Coast. A great first event back after stitching up the world title in 2016. And let's have a look at their history. 4 CT victories for John Florence, Matt Wilkinson with a couple. The heat score averages pretty similar coming into this final. Head-to-head, not too much history between these two competitors. 6 man-on-man heats, and they've got 3 apiece.
Even Steven. That's how we like it. Bring it on.
Going to be a good battle. What's your prediction here, Pete?
Well, you like to put me on the spot, don't you? Well, let's take a look at the first exchange. We'll see.
Well, you're getting a preview.
So John off the rocks. That little fuller tie.
Whoa.
Don't hurt yourself. Well, throwaway score there. And then we'll see what Matt's got to offer. We'll stumble on the first bottom turn. A couple carves, a snap, and a kick out. So we're still even Steven. We'll give a little bit of the advantage there. You know, I would like to see, just in conditions, you know, it looks like now we finally are going to start to see that easterly flow of wind now that the rain has kind of stepped away. And I would like to see John take to the air. I think that'll be the true point of difference. If he can do that on top of torquing carves, I think that he is an advantage here.
Well, he already tried it on his first wave, unsuccessful, but a couple of solid moves. He throws his board into a reverse, and he manages to ride out of this one. And then unloads with a powerful carve on the inside. Still got room to dance on the inside. He tucks into the barrel, finds some cover, and rolls it through to the inside, and just swivels his way through another pirouette there on the inside.
That was almost ballet-ish, huh? You know, when he landed backwards, his body still kind of torqued around, and then he had to kind of get into that ballerina twist to keep balance over the top of the board. Right? It kind of had that vibe to it.
Pretty amazing ride. Not as smooth as some of the other ones that he's had earlier in the event, where there's just been no edges caught and he's just linked everything perfectly. But whatever mistakes he made on that ride, he made up for with some high-risk turns.
Well, and he got this turn on the outside. Look at that, just completely laying into it. Connected, so a little 2-turn combo outside, and then sets up this section here where he goes and does the blowtail, and then somehow is able to rotate around that board without losing control. Unbelievable strength, and then mixing it up with a nice carve. I mean, this wave had a little bit of everything. Here, another little barrel, adding to the variety, and then just a little flat spin, but that pirouette throughout. Nice work from John Florence to set the stage here. Advantage John. One more time, taking a look here, but that torqued out little, I mean, to somehow stay over the top of his board, he was completely off balance. But he has such the skate influence. He knows how to control that board. Look at it, it goes straight up too. When you can go straight up as well, that makes it a little bit more difficult. Look at the back foot completely off. Front foot though planted. And then just rides the rail through the nose, rides that rocker. And then you see the shift back, puts that back foot back to get into this. And then there's the combination of major maneuvers. You had the innovation, and then just the flow and the combo. I mean, he ticked all the boxes there.
He did. High-risk surfing from John Florence. He's been pacing himself through the rounds. He's going to get the reward with a very complete ride. The numbers starting to roll through. He's looking comfortable in yellow out there. A 9.5.
I mean, the whole key to that success for him is always staying balanced over the top of his board. You know, and he'll do everything he can, compressing, extending, twisting, all of it, just to stay balanced. And it's so, so hard to do. But that extra work outside of surfing just helps him to stay that strong.
It's been interesting watching the competition today, Pete, because we have seen surfers really flex their repertoire, really add some variety in the turns, but we have seen too, if you're doing major maneuvers, even if there's a little bit of repetition, you're still going to fetch yourself decent numbers. We saw that with Gabriel Medina and Kelly Slater. On this occasion, John Florence, he really mixed things up well, but there was high-risk turns as well. Let's get Richie Porter's take on that ride. It was a big one, Rich, a 9.5 to kick things off in this heat.
Yeah, how good was it? It's as you guys have been saying, he ticked all the boxes. Like he got a little bit stuck on the air, but then managed to ride down into it, and then every turn's different on that wave, and you look at that wave and go, what more could he have done? The judges hold a little bit back because of that little stuck part on the top of the air, and the waves are starting to deteriorate a little bit, so the scale adjusts a tad. Hang on, he's up again. I'll be back.
No problem at all. As we see, John looking for a backup number now, only trying to get rid of a 2-point ride. And he's committed to this wave. He may as well ride it through to the inside. It's a good thing he did, because it had a nice pocket there. He was able to get that tail release. Just so many maneuvers he can go to. Doesn't complete the rotation on that occasion, but he's back down the end of the line. Right behind him, Matt Wilkinson on a better looking ride. He's going to try and stick with this one through to the end of past Little Marley. And he finishes with a fin drift on the inside. Well, the competitors area is crammed. Tyler Wright cheering on her buddy Maddie Wilkinson there with Nikki Van Dyke, some great performers in the Roxy Pro. Everyone very excited just about the way this first event of the year has panned out. No one more excited than our man out in the lineup, Strider Wasilewski. How was that first exchange?
I'm loving this. This is just one of those moments where you get to see the best in the world doing exactly what they love to do and get paid for it, and everybody on the beach lighting up. Right now, you can hear everybody from the water. You can hear the entire crew on the beach just lighting up and going off. That first wave that John caught, the place went nuts, and I'll guarantee you Wilco could hear that sitting out the back. It's got to play into your mental psyche and everything that you got going on. John looks freed up. He looks really good. Wilco, I think he's going to have to really get progressive in this heat. You know, having the ability to go through the lip and get the aerial game and everything that John's got, he's going to be really hard to beat.
Did you see the first turn he did on that last ride?
I've seen them all.
Very progressive.
Yes, definitely. And I think that what we've got here is just a classic battle of forehand and backhand, and it's going to be one of those great heats, and it's going to go all the way down to the wire, hopefully, and this thing's going to flip-flop all the way through.
Well, we're watching the replays now. Thanks, Strider. And John Florence, this was his last ride, Pete. Came through at a 4.83 and a bit of a lost opportunity to stitch up a decent backup by not completing that last turn.
Agreed, Ronnie. And but you see what he was trying to do there is obviously you would have known that 9.5. Let's back that thing up right away. Put yourself in a substantial lead. I love what Matt Wilkinson was able to do on that smaller wave, though. Put everything into it. That first turn, the big reverse attempt, but that 9.5 really kind of allowed Wilco to go there, because he knew at this point, I've got to give it all. I'm not going to hold back one bit, so this is going to be a slugfest.
We've talked about John Florence and the way he's paced himself through this event. Matt Wilkinson, he has basically fallen into that same rhythm of just that really tidy bottom turn and a top turn hit throughout the rounds, and hasn't really had to explode his tail out of the waves too much. He got a little bit more loose on that occasion. I think he's got a lot left to give. That was an explosive first turn. He finished it well. He got a 7.83, and he's back in this heat. He now needs a 6.51 to jump into first.
All right, haymakers happening right here. This is the good stuff that we see on finals day. All the informed surfers have been able to turn it, and I love it. Love seeing this action happen. Let's take a look now again once at Matt Wilkinson. You know, first maneuver, straight into it. The big backhand tail whip, slide around. Missed that. That was the quick throwaway one, but he did it again and made it, and that's why he was able to get to that 7.83.
We talk about the fact that there's so many different title contenders this year, a lot of well-rounded surfers who look like they're in good form, but it is 3 names that were right up the top of the ratings at the end of last season that are still in the mix here with a shot for the title. And the other name, of course, is Owen Wright, and he's the guy that was missing from the race last year. So a really interesting semi-final lineup. John Florence wants to stay in yellow. He doesn't want to take that jersey off. And Matt Wilkinson, we know that if he can get back in that yellow jersey, you know, potentially he could go on a magic run like he did last year.
Yeah, and, you know, looking at his equipment, you know, he had that little magic red board last year to take those 2 wins. But he's got another really good board under his feet. You can see it's glued there.
Well, here he goes. The 28-year-old just stuffs that first turn a little, and he's going to get out of there. Nothing lost. Didn't go too far down the line. Didn't have priority for that one, so he'll get back to that takeoff zone. Florence, though, has been so composed throughout this contest. I thought the shakiest he looked was his round 3 heat with Mikey Wright.
And then just, I mean, he had just Mikey was able to stay with him for a moment. There's that reverse attempt that he pulls off. Somehow that was pretty amazing to pull that down. I mean, he ends up getting a 7.83 on a wave that's a third of the size of some of the set waves. And that's that innovation progression. But look at him, he is giving everything to every turn. There's that tail release that we've seen throughout last year. But, you know, he's got another one of those things where he's able to kind of drift to that front foot, put that weight, you know, a la Italo, and, you know, that balance between that back foot and front foot, so important.
Working on boards was a key factor for Ross Williams and John Florence coming into the new season. John's equipment looks like it's working very well. He looks like he's moving pretty quickly across the face of these waves. It's always a pretty good indicator for the kind of form that you're in. And Matt Wilkinson was able to really accelerate and get some speed up straight after that big first turn. So he's obviously on a magic carpet as well.
Well, if you look at where John obviously surfs most of his time, it's really hard to gauge how your equipment works in Hawaii to the rest of the world. And, you know, and the reason being is that it's one of the most powerful places on Earth. You know, even the smaller days, you're going to have, there's no continental shelf. You know, generally the energy of the ocean in the Pacific is going to be stronger than anywhere else in the world. So it's really hard to gauge how your boards, you can take it and work good in Hawaii, doesn't mean it's going to work good elsewhere in the world. And, you know, Ross understanding that, being that he's an accomplished World Tour surfer for many, many years, you know, you start refining equipment to the regions in which you're going to. And so obviously he showed up early. That was a big key to the success here. Showed up with a boatload of boards, you know, and then Paizel's here and obviously helping. If there's something we can do to make it better, he's done it.
Well, Ross has ridden a lot of John's boards as well, so I think they've got a surfer-shaper relationship. So the three of them getting their heads together and obviously dialing in everything for this new season, this title defence. And so far, you got to say, John has dealt with the pressure and the extra attention of being world champion, you know, without an issue, really. Yeah.
You wonder what, like, Ross, at this point, right, he's obviously doing, like, a lot of the pre-work to this. But once on site, you know, what is his kind of way to inspire John? Is it, you know, is it technical stuff? I mean, he's obviously a world champion, so he knows what to do. But at this point in time, what do you do to pump him up? It'd be good to know from Ross, like, what he is saying to John to pump him up.
I don't think he's going to tell us. John won't tell us. Kaipo's been trying to get it out of him, but secret business. 14 minutes to go here. John's holding priority. He's been pretty staunch out there at the moment. He hasn't even looked at a wave. We heard Richie Porter say that conditions might have deteriorated a little bit. Are you seeing that in the lineup?
For sure. You know, and we've seen this, you know, the forecast was saying for some easterly flow. It was supposed to come in the afternoon, and I think we're seeing that now. You see a little more of a jumbled lineup.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more at the Quicksilver Pro in just a moment. John Florence leads Matt Wilkinson in semi-final 1.
Hey guys, I'm here at the WSL merchandise store at Snapper Rocks. Got my Visa card. Gonna do a little shopping. Hey guys. All right. Well, I want to get a couple of jerseys. I want a couple Parcos. I want a Florence, a Fanning, and a side of Gilmore, please.
All right. No worries.
You can get it all on site here at the contest all day long. And remember, if you can't make it down here and you're watching online, you can also shop at the WSLstore.com where Visa is preferred.
Yeah, grab it. Here you go.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you for the insights, Kaipo, and glad to see he's finally got that card out. Because he is, as he likes to say, fiscally conservative.
He is fiscally conservative.
Takes a calculator to dinner when we go out at night and sorts out the bill for us.
And he 12% tip.
Yep, threw a couple of IOUs down last night.
Oh, that's right. I owe you 50. Darn it.
Here we go. John Florence up now. Semi-final number 1. He's up against Matt Wilkinson. A monster first turn. Really laying it down. And again, gets a great opportunity here. This wave standing up nicely. You can see that wind taking a little effect on this lineup, but there's still plenty of scoring potential down the line. And John's going to use it, banking off that end section, wanting to get rid of a 4.83. I've seen him more aggressive on those end section turns.
Yeah,
but I think he just wants to get a little pressure on the shoulders of Matt Wilkinson here.
And he's done that, right? He could have easily gone for the punt, but you know what? Let's complete the ride here. We got 10 minutes to go. Let's complete a solid wave to back up the 9.5, and then now he's going to have that comfort of being able to go a lot bigger. Takes a smaller inside wave, so again, he's trying to back it up. He knew that 4.83 is not going to be enough, especially when Wilco's got already a 7.83. But look at this, wave choice is great because he has steep sections and look at combos it off here. But again, I think this is conservative surfing for John, but still going to get the goods. It's still going to get a good score and fetch. You know, it's in the good range. It could even go excellent, but I mean, smaller wave, but look at the line it had on it. And he was able to do 4 or 5 solid off the tops, connection with the lip. And, you know, already Wilco needed a 7.68. Well, there it is because he got a pretty good score.
Yep, 6-point ride for Florence. And you'd have to say the majority of the points came on that first haymaker, that first big turn. He really dug in hard, got that release in the tail, pushed it so hard. It wasn't like he sort of took the pressure off his back foot and let the fin skip out. He busted them free of the water.
You know, I felt like that was a little better score than a 6. But then again, you look at the score line across the board for the judges. There was 1.65, 3 6s, a 5.8. But either way, it did add a bit more pressure for Wilco, though, but easily can attain that score if he gets the right wave. So
you can just see that surface of the water starting to get a little agitated by this onshore flow, Pete. It's still relatively clean on the face, and it will probably remain cleaner than yesterday.
Oh, for sure.
But we're anticipating fireworks when these next 2 competitors hit the lineup. Owen Wright and Gabriel Medina.
So you would see, too, that the surfers are going to need to make slight adjustments in the lineup. Won't necessarily change equipment, but maybe choice of turns. You know, where they sit in the lineup. You know, we're going to see that tide move back out again. So we'll see that change in the lineup, maybe moving out, kind of out behind the rock. But with the bumpy lineup, too, you got to make sure that you're going to get to that corner so you can kind of connect that inside section. That's going to be important here.
8 minutes to go. I think too with this wind, some of the competitors will be thinking back to what happened early in the contest. Italo got himself a 10-point ride for a single move. John Florence, you can tell that he's not too fixated on the set waves at this point in time. Matt Wilkinson's definitely going to be selective. He might need a good set wave in order to chase down a number that's going to rival John's 9.5. But Florence, he can definitely throw something super exciting at us and at the judges on just an average wave.
Well, now that he has that 6.0 as the backup, it's given himself the freedom.
Well, the Roxy Pro final is set. It's going to be a great battle. Lakey Peterson's been dropping monster scores throughout the contest. Steph Gilmore's just warming up for this final heat. Just over 7 minutes to go. We'll throw it down to Kaipo and hear from the winner of semi-final 2 in the Roxy Pro.
All right, Steph, you're in the final. Surfing's there, you gain the numbers, excellent scores again. Right at the end of that heat, however, handing over priority to Sally. Was that a little gut check for you the last couple minutes?
Yeah, definitely. I thought I learned my lesson earlier in this event, but obviously not. That was a bigger one, and I thought it could have an inside similar to the one Chris had in round 1, and you can't count Sally out. She's such a fierce competitor, and she'll wait until the last seconds and hold her cool. So yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, but it worked out all right.
Your thoughts on the final with Lakey Peterson? You both have been putting up the biggest heat score numbers so far in the event.
Yeah, Lakey's just been on a tear, and I just have to focus on myself, and it's not over until it's over. So it's exciting to get these big scores early, but what happens in the final is just it's a clean slate. It's a fresh 30 minutes, and have to go out there and put in that hard work again.
Get ready for a cracker of a finals, guys.
Thank you, Kaipo.
Thank you.
So the two surfers that have dropped 10-point rides in the Roxy Pro are going to fight it out for the crown here and the ratings lead. That yellow jersey is going to be on the back of either Lakey Peterson for the first time ever or Steph Gilmore. So a great head-to-head match that's going to be, and Steph holds the edge over Lakey. 3 previous heats, and Steph has won them. So it's going to be a good one. Can't wait.
Well, psychologically, you would say that Gilmore's going to be feeling pretty good about that matchup, but she can't think about all those big scores at Lakey, because Lakey actually, I believe today, has even stepped up her game a little bit more. So, just in what we saw in her semifinal heat, there was a couple of waves there that you're like, I thought 10, still 983, big number.
Definitely. I thought a first wave, 897, could have definitely gone higher, but here we go. Matt Wilkinson now. 5 minutes remaining here. Needs a 7.68 and a committed float to get started. Gets that board vertical. So good at tapping into that rhythm. He's going to kick out there on the inside. 7.68, the required score.
Such a different demeanor from Wilco this year. It is all serious. When he's in the water with his jersey on, he's competing, and he's doing everything he can. He's not giving up, and that's a different Wilco than we're used to. We saw it last year, and I think he's applying it again this year. So he's going to be a contender.
2 former winners left in the mix here, and 2 surfers that have already eclipsed their best ever result. Also in the draw. Here's the replay of Matt's last ride.
So again, you can hear the crowd really trying to help Wilco there. The float, again, deteriorating right here in front of our eyes. Literally, it's already picked up the wind in this heat. So the surfer's having to adjust to that. But he is so good at coming from behind. He times his backhand snap where he loads up almost right behind the back of the whitewater, so he comes up right in that critical section.
I saw Matt Wilkinson and Glenn Hall just getting psyched for this semi-final heat, and the goal is to get to the final and surf against his good friend Owen Wright. Obviously, those two spent a lot of time together training in the off-season. But Matt's going to need more after this last ride. It's going to fall short of the requirement. It's a 5.5. He still needs a 7.68, Pete.
Did you see Elmo? That's the question. The footy ball. Elmo retired for the season?
I don't know. That's Glenn Hall's lucky charm, which he carried to each
Maybe there's a new
CT
one.
stop last year.
We'll see. I'm sure that'll start to come to our senses later. But generally, he likes to hold on to something and spins the ball around, and this just kind of helps him with his nerves.
2 minutes and 45 seconds to go here, and Matt just makes John pull the trigger on priority there. John is looking to better a 6 with this wave. It's a little slow at the moment.
Oh, he's going to go big right here.
It's a bit of a reeler though. Here's a good section. A lot of chop on the face there to deal with. Matt Wilkinson, you could hear the crowd screaming as he came after John down the line. And he's working this one over in a big way. A couple of solid hits on the lip. Can he find some more room on the inside? Gets the finish. And there he is. Giving himself the stamp of approval. Just under 2 minutes remaining here. Can't wait to see the start of that ride. We were focused on John Florence, and he was unsuccessful in upping the ante and in replacing that 6.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. And so Wilco could have the opportunity to surpass him. So he liked the way this wave looked in the inside and sets up the double up. And this crowd was pumping up Wilco, and that's that rhythm that he gets. This is where we caught him. That was a strong final turn. It would have loved to have been able to connect this portion of it. You know, a little bit missed there, but stays with it. He's going to finish it. Make sure to never give up on that wave. And we take a look at John. So again, you say Wilco was competing here. That was something where it felt like John was like, oh, and had to decide, did he want to take this wave? And at this point he knows, well, I got to do something pretty big, and didn't complete it. So that's going to be a throwaway score. It really comes down to that exchange, and was it enough?
50 seconds to go, and we may not see another wave ridden in this semi-final. Strider, you've been watching very closely. Priority sometimes has been a curse for the competitors.
Well, definitely. It becomes that moment of truth when you have to make that decision, that cool, calm, collected understanding of what you can do. And, you know, here's John right on the end of this thing, trying to better that 6-point ride. You know, this thing's got a little line on the inside. It looks like he's going to be able to load up. We'll see if he can better. Little setup snap right there. Another little tip tap on the inside corner. Boom, there's his fins out, comes around, pulls it down. So, you know, he's looking for more on the inside. Will he get back to the open face? Will we see more out of John? This thing is just winding down to the seconds. Was that better than a 6? I don't know. Let me tell you, though, Wilco's wave was number 2 in that set. And all day, number 2 has been a better wave. So we'll see how the scores go down.
Well, you could see the concern on John Florence's face at the end of that heat. The hooter had sounded. The heat's come to a close, and we're just waiting to find out if Matt Wilkinson did enough on his ride. The highest scoring ride was a 9.5. And John's wave early on, Pete, was by far the best wave of the heat. But where did Wilco's ride fit in?
Well, I think you'd have to take a look at John's 6 as a comparison, because I think that's a wave that, where did Wilco's and how much better was Wilco's, or, you know, where is it at in a level compared to that wave? I mean, the 9.5's just, it was definitely by far the best wave in the heat.
Waiting on the numbers to come through now. The judges possibly doing some video review work at the moment. Having a look at Matt Wilkinson's last wave.
Well, this is where it starts. And this is the rhythm that he carries. That's Wilco getting the fins, and this is the strongest turn of it. Really laid into that section, so 4 solid turns. And then just a little bit of a stumble trying to get around this section, but he knows that every quarter point counts. So he gave it 110%. So they keep looking at this same wave here. So the outside had nothing going, but the little Marley section, this is where it stands up. Number 2 and 3, and then the 4th turn. That was solid, straight up. Nice hook. I mean, one thing that maybe lacked in that wave slightly is the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of variety, whereas John's 6 kind of did have that. I don't know, armchair, what do you think?
John's 6'2". The first turn was on that outside section, but there's no doubt that Matt strung together some pretty solid moves there. 7.68 the requirement, and we're waiting on the numbers to come through. We'll see if he can go into the final for a second year in a row. First number's dropped, and it looks pretty decent. So Matt Wilkinson on the beach, sweating on the score. We'll keep a camera on him.
Of course, again, we're here at the last. They're on the beach, and they're watching the scores come in.
Great exchange to finish. Very exciting times there. The number is in. And we're waiting on one more score for John Florence. He now needs a 6.4. Matt Wilkinson, an 8.07. And he's about to get the news. And Matt Wilkinson's into the final once again. We'll throw it down to Kaipo for the interview.
Right here. Wilco, right here, right here. Stay right here. You made the final, back-to-back finals here at the Quicksilver Pro. Your feelings right now?
I'm pretty excited. that was a tough heat. Anytime anyone starts off with a 9.5, you're pretty much against the ropes. And when it's John that starts with a 9.5, you can only expect 5 more of them to come. But I threw it all at the first good wave I got, and I got back in the game, and then that last wave I took off and there was nothing out the back, and I knew I had to tee off on it on the inside, and it just held up for just enough. And yeah, I can't wait to surf this final. Hopefully for either of the guys that make this semi, it's going to be awesome. They're both great friends, and I guess at the start of the week I said, "Oh dog, I'll meet you in the final," and hopefully that happens.
All right, we're going to let you get ready for that final. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you.
More to come. Semi-final number 2 after this break. Stick around for more of the Quicksilver Pro.
Welcome back to the Quicksilver Pro. Matt Wilkinson is into the final here on the Gold Coast for the second year in a row, and he's just arriving back to the competitors area. His partner Anna there, and he now has to settle himself and get ready to do battle against the winner of semi-final number 2, which is just getting underway now. But it is going to be an all goofy-footed final because Semi 2 is stacked with a couple of the best. Owen Wright, who's been dropping big numbers since he returned here in the first round, and Gabriel Medina, who hasn't yet dropped the heat.
Wow.
You're up, Pete?
I'm all right. He's going to have a goofy foot winner in here.
So as you can see there, Korea CT event wins. Gabriel Medina really starting to collect. Owen Wright's got a couple of victories, pretty special wins too. But have a look at the heat score averages there for Medina, 16.4. And really, that's all off the back of that amazing 19-point heat that he had in the third round against Ian Gabea. But Medina had that really close one with Kelly Slater earlier today.
And that was a big heat win for sure for Gabriel, especially as it came at the very end of the heat, which we've seen pretty much almost every single one of our heats, or
it's
all
been a
of
good
them.
day. It's been a good event. But yeah, Owen Wright just getting past Connor O'Leary too. Connor put in a great effort in the final stages of their quarterfinal clash. So just a throwaway score on the board here, a .23 for Owen Wright. So Gabriel Medina has priority. We'll see how the 23-year-old deals with it.
You know, as the beginning of the heat, there is no priority, so they'll battle just for the deepest position. But Owen obviously taking a quick wave, and now Gabriel can kind of sit with that top priority.
Wow.
This will be good.
Who's going to be wearing yellow at the end of this thing?
Well, I'm not even going to say a call because all the calls I've been making have been way off.
What did you say yesterday afternoon?
Did you say Kelly Slater? And I said Sally Fitzgibbons.
Okay.
And so with that, my calls, I'm just going to have to do those things like the intuition and go the opposite of my intuition. And say something absolutely. That's what I kind of tried to do yesterday, but obviously it didn't work out real well.
Well, so you were fighting your intuition. Who did you feel was deep down was actually going to win then?
I thought John was probably going to win, and obviously I'm wrong there too.
He looked good, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, it was still a great performance from John, but just amazing. The goofy footers here at Snapper Rocks, especially on the men's side, have just been scoring so well throughout the contest.
They have. I mean, an example being Gabriel Medina. You know, even with, remember, he strained his MCL pretty much first day of competition, and he has been fighting it through. And like you said, having to win, especially those three-man heats where you skip around, has been so beneficial for him.
Really, really has been able to rest up a little bit more. Owen Wright too, though, he's pacing himself because he doesn't want to over-surf or surf himself out. He's got to be careful not to get fatigued. Generally hasn't been doing more than just a couple of sessions, even free surfing in a day. So this is a big one for him. Potentially he could have to surf 3 times if he can overcome Gabriel, and that might test him.
Very much so. I mean, and then on the flip side, this is a big run right here. We're back-to-back 3 events right in a row.
Here we go. Gabriel taking off, using priority on this one, and swings the tail free straight away out onto the open face. A nice carving cut down. You can just see him lining up the inside. He wants to get that timing right for this first turn. Does well there, and now the wave stands up, and there is a super critical hit. But this wave threatening to get away from him. He's a little hung up. So good at getting back out in front of waves generally, but on that occasion just got a little caught up in the white water. Barton Lynch joins us. Barton, your thoughts on that last heat?
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it? And that, I think the important thing to recognise is that it's best 2 rides. It felt like overall throughout that heat, John was dominant. He was always kind of in the lead off the back of the 9.5, and Wilco got an early ride, and then he kind of disappeared through the middle, and it was almost like you forgot that he was involved in it, and he was so close. And then right at the end, he banks the score. So he got one early, got one late. The middle wasn't right, but best 2 rides, you're never out of it. You know, you could, couple minutes left, you can still get those 2 rides, or for Wilco, 1 early, 1 late, and it's enough to go.
And when someone puts on a great show like that and shows fireworks and gets that excellent number, it kind of draws everyone's attention away from the other competitor in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of felt like the 9.5 was a big score so early in the heat. And then I kind of felt like Pete did, like the 6 might have been a little bit lower. But I think on the best 2 rides, they got the scores right. And that consistency of Wilco's backhand attack was what the judges liked. And he was there at the end. And it's just been that way all week, hasn't it? It's been so exciting. And heats have been going right down to the wire. And that's what makes our sport so exciting, is you never know what Mother Nature's going to do. And on best 2 rides, you're always a chance. And we saw Wilco pull that one out of the fire, get it real late, and through to his second final in a row, 2 years in a row.
You can always sense, Spartan, when you're excited, and generally that's kind of like 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, but I can feel the energy just picking up. 3 goofy footers left in the contest, and all with a different kind of magic. Who do you think's going to win this contest from here?
Oh, I remember Pete put that to me days ago, and I went, I don't get involved in that. I'm not sticking my neck out this early. But, you know, I think that the energy of Gabriel Medina, the power, he's got this beautiful flow. A la Owen's got that lovely flow. He's got some erratic, wild edge to him like Wilco. So I think that he can kind of match both of those guys at their strong points, and then he's got the other side of it as well. So at this point, I'd like to say that Gabriel will win it, but you know how that is. I've most probably just jinxed him.
We'll see. He's about to put up a pretty decent number to start this heat off. Scores falling in now from our panel of 5 judges, and this one's going to average out as a 6.17. So Gabriel takes the early lead over Owen Wright, but not a monster number compared to what he's been dropping, and also when you take into consideration that Owen's had some of the better heat score totals of the contest.
Well, you just saw that replay, and there was some scoring opportunity that Gabriel missed there, and that's why you see that score suppressed at that 6.17. There was one really strong turn, but after he did that strong turn, he wasn't able to back it up. And I think if he had been able to get back to that open face without that stumble, you saw he just had that little hitch after he whacked it real hard. If he'd been able to stay in control, he probably would have made it back to that open face pretty easily and then finished that ride. We would have seen probably something in the excellent range, but instead we're at that 6, and he's fighting. He's fighting that knee. You can see it, but he's still so good that he's fighting through it, and he's still making scores happen. I mean, the 9 at the end of Kelly's heat was amazing, and you know, not only just riding the waves is important, but being able to get the best ones, and that's one of the things about Gabriel. He's got that little bit of that magic. He knows how to find the good waves and will them into his wheelhouse.
Medina in front, Wright chasing a 5.95. Let's hear from John Florence, last year's world champ, has just been eliminated from the Quicksilver Pro. He's with Quik.
John, 3rd place to start off. I was calling you Smart John during that heat because you lit it up with that 9.5, and then you surfed that your backup. I know you toned it down to get that backup score. It seemed like you were doing all the right things. What would you have done different?
Heats like that, there's not too much I could have done different. I feel like, you know, that last exchange was just he was paddling with the first one, and there was 3 minutes to go, so I was like, I'm not gonna let him go. There's not that many waves, and had a wall on it seemed like, and then the next one was really good. Almost identical thing happened to me last year with Stuart Kennedy, and I was paddling back out, like literally laughing to myself, like, oh my gosh. But I'm stoked. Like third place is the best I've done here at Snapper, and we've got such a long year ahead. And I mean, as we could see, is last year Wilco won 2 events, and then everything changed. So anything can happen, and I'm excited. I'm happy.
Yeah, 3rd's a keeper. You know what I can't wait to see? Coming up next, hopefully we'll cross our fingers, John at the box.
Oh my gosh, if we get the box, I'm going to be so stoked. I'm going to head over there early and try to get barreled before everyone gets there.
Thank you, and we'll see you in West Oz. Thanks for spending some time with us, John.
Cheers, Quik. And John can get on the laptop now and book Ross's ticket to WA, because just like Pete Durbidge got John to his best result here on the Gold Coast last year, Ross has helped him to a semi-final finish, a better start than he had in 2016. And out the back now, 17 and a half minutes to go. Owen Wright looking for his first big number. Solid first turn. This wave is standing up once again. He climbs on top of that tricky whitewater section and now cuts back. And just look at this thing starting to stand up now. He'll look to find that rhythm, get some release in the tail off the top, bashes it one more time. And he is really letting go of some decent moves on the inside, transitioning into this smaller wall and still able to work some solid moves into the curl.
That was nice. Especially that second climb of the whitewash, to keep that flow going. That's just, you know, one of his key attributes is having that flow, you know, and he was able to hold the speed through a very, like you said, very difficult section to climb up and over on. and he made it look nice. It actually became a major maneuver when easily all it would have taken is that whitewash to give way a little bit and a little stumble. Take a look at the replay here. First turn is strong, the connection with the lip, but look at all that ribs up and he just glides over it and quickly whips off the top. He just read that section perfectly and then gets the bonus. And of course, he did not make any mistakes here on the inside section. Steepens up, and then that's that rhythm. Beautiful top to bottom. And that, when you finish on that final section like that, that's going to be so much confidence. When he jumps on the back of that ski, he is going to be pumped up.
I just got a weird feeling just thinking, if Owen Wright goes on to win this event, this will be one of the greatest sporting comebacks for sure. I mean, early January, he was saying he might not ever get back to the championship tour. He's had a miraculous turnaround through the early months this season, and somehow he's here and he finds himself now waiting on his last ride to drop, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to get him into the lead, a 7.17 for Owen Wright, the 26-year-old. An amazing effort on that one.
I would agree with you, Ronnie. We listening to Coconut Wireless, just understanding, is this going to be the case? And then he was announced, cleared by the doctors to participate. Yet there really hadn't been, probably enough sessions to really know. I mean, he was just cleared by the doctors. And so the competitive part of it was still an unknown, a complete question mark, until we got to see him in that first QS. And he was able to put some scores up there. His surfing was there. Wasn't 100% Owen, but literally every moment. I mean, this probably is helping him mentally to be stronger and to heal.
Well, we're aware of it. Obviously, his close family and friends are aware of it. Some of the people on the beach might understand just how big a result this is for Owen already. But there's two guys left in the draw that are well aware of it. One of them's out in the lineup surfing against him. Gabriel Medina was on hand, staying at that house, the Pipe House, Rip Curl's house there on the North Shore, as was Matt Wilkinson. So there is three surfers out there in the lineup that are very familiar with each other's history. But yeah, Gabriel and I think Matt Wilkinson have a really good appreciation of just how far Owen has come. 13 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Medina chasing just a 1.24 to get ahead of the man on screen. Owen Wright out in front.
Welcome back to the Gold Coast Quicksilver Pro. It's all happening right now. We got dolphins, we got the crowd popping, we got all kinds of different weather happening. We got the return of Owen just absolutely going nuts. Gabriel's in the water with him. We're gonna have an all Goofy Foot final, and that's a guarantee. We love it. The Goofy Footers on the comm team, the Goofy Footers on the beach in the crowd, and obviously on tour.
Thank you, Strider. 12 minutes remaining in Semi 2. Matt Wilkinson waiting to find out who he is going to take on. A great final established for the Roxy Pro as well. Lakey Peterson and Steph Gilmore gearing up for their exchange. But at this stage of the game, Owen Wright is out in front. Medina chasing a score to get himself back into the lead. Not an excellent number, but he definitely has some work to do.
How fun has it been to sit through these last 4 or 5 days watching the event window start, straight into competition. And we're back to back to back to back, and we're going to be finishing. So fun to have that kind of rhythm to an event. Beautiful tail whip from Owen Wright. I mean, like I said, I just feel like he's getting better and better with each serve. This wave kind of backing off for him, see if he'll get a connection to the inside to extend that lead. He'll do that anyway. But Owen Wright, what a story. We can't stop talking about it.
Just under 11 minutes ago, numbers coming through for Owen's last ride, 5.67. Let's check in with Quik and get some perspective from Kelly Slater on Owen's return.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Incredible day, right? Just, big stories. We got Kelly. Don't look away. Come here. We got Wilco going back-to-back finals, right? And what about the story with Owen Wright right now?
It's amazing. You know, like I said before, Rob, his father, told me 2 weeks ago he couldn't have done it, but he's been getting some acupuncture and he just had the desire. And, you know, how is it that after, 13, 14 months of not being able to really surf like the Owen we know, in fact, hardly being able to surf from what I hear, comes back and is surfing like this. I mean, he just looks like where he stopped at before to me, you know, just kind of picking right back up. So surfing great. The 7-1 I thought was an A5, but he shredded that wave. He started to shred on that 5.6 that he just got, but the wave didn't let him do much. Gabby looks a little bit out of sync right now. We'll see what kind of comes around here, but I mean, wouldn't it be the story of stories if it was he and Wilco making 2 years in a row and making the final 2 years in a row, and then Owen coming back like that? I mean, would be definitely a feel-good story to start out on the year.
Well, I agree with you. The ladies, the level of Lakey Peterson and Stephanie Gilmore are surfing at right now.
Amazing. And also, if you look back at their first the three-woman heat in the first round, and Lakey just had the heat in her grasp. She was on a wave, and she kept looking back. Ultimately, let Steph catch up to her and beat her in the heat. And I kind of worded her up a little bit about that, like, what are you doing? And here goes Gabby here. This looks like a pretty good wave down the line, too. But yeah, you know, she hasn't skipped a beat since then. She's looked great, and I mean, I think it's the best anyone's saying they've ever seen her surf. So we'll see what happens. But you know, Steph looks like she's remembered how to surf heats. And oh wow, big mistake there. Like I said, he looked a little out of sorts. But getting back to Steph and Lakey, I just said to Steph, I go, what happened? You remembered you can surf good in a heat. So it's going to be a really fun heat for me to watch this final. The two of them having a battle from round one, and now they're in the final. It's really cool.
Really cool. Thank you for the perspective. Ron, let's get caught up.
Yeah, love hearing Kelly's thoughts on an event. He pays such close attention, not just to his own path through a contest, obviously, but to what is happening on both the men's and the women's side. He's spot on. Gabriel Medina, just not really himself. You just so rarely see him fall like that, Pete.
I mean, it was pretty crazy as you watch it. This wave down the line, he saw the potential. So he utilized that priority, and he starts to maintain a rhythm here. Gets that carve. He's so good at that carve to stay back next to the whitewash and set this inside section up. There's a nice snap. Lots of water flying everywhere. But just kind of took the eye off the ball maybe because he was looking down the line, and then sometimes that happens.
So a big opportunity now for Owen Wright to really lock in a solid score on his next ride. He has that priority. Medina's out of the lineup for a moment, and almost he could have benefited if he was able to pick up a set in this moment that Medina's trying to paddle back to the top of the point, because there was a chance he could get that wave, get the ski, get back to the top of the point and regain priority.
And you remember Kelly's comments in regards to how to beat Gabriel is to establish the lead early and make him sit with priority, because that's when you feel that Gabe's the most vulnerable. So take a note on that one, because Kelly, one of the best students of the game, he knows how to beat each and every one of these surfers, and he'll apply that strategy as best he can.
We've had some goofy footers crack the final here in the past. We've had a couple of victories in recent years, but you've got to go back a long way for an all goofy footed final on the men's side, all the way back to 88. Barton Lynch and Derek Ho.
Wow.
Barton's with us. Barton, you remember that event?
Wow. No, I do barely. It was because we're talking, what's that, 28 years ago. We were at Main Beach Surfers Paradise for that event, and it's hard to believe that was the last time that two goofies made a final, but no wonder we've had a chip on our shoulder for a while. No, that's amazing, and 3 out of the 4 semi-finalists. It's great to know that the goofies are alive and well, and this wave itself in these conditions really does suit that backhand attack, and I suppose it has all week because there's been a preference for belting it rather than pulling into it. So that seems to be the recipe. Matty Wilco, Owen Wright, or Gabriel Medina. Either way, it's going to be a backhand attack, and another goofy winner here at Snapper. But I can't believe it's that long ago.
It's been a long time. I distinctly remember you talking about backhand surfing at Bell's a couple of years ago, Barton, and you were saying that was one area of surfing where you thought there was still so much room for it to evolve and for the limits to be pushed. Have you seen that in the last couple of years, do you think?
Well, I think if you ignore aerials, the main change to the sort of traditional backhand approach that we would have seen Damien Hardman or Tommy Carroll or Occy do is the blow of the tail out of the top and that drifting of the tail. But otherwise, it's still an off the bottom, off the top, tight to the pocket, vertical type of approach. So where the front side has evolved into so much variety, there's so many different arms dropped in different ways, different carves, different snaps, flow tails. There's all this different stuff on the front side. The backside attack, if you consider Owen's 717, it's still a very traditional approach, and I do feel that there's some room to explore in the line and in the parts of the body that are on the wave face to really sort of explode that backhand attack and keep it up to date with the front side. Gabriel Medina getting a little desperate and having a look at this one. Could have an inside wall for him, though. He needs to get started. Those 2 mistakes we've seen from Gabriel are very uncharacteristic, and here's Owen behind him.
Well, Owen, with 4 minutes to go, is going to commit to this ride, and he needs to make sure he stomps some big moves. First turn was so solid, and he let the tail go over the back of the wave once again on the second move. Really building nicely, does well to hang on to that move, a tricky section to negotiate, and he banks a nice carve on the backhand, and what a finish there on the inside. Still not finished, actually. He's going to bang in a couple more turns. Just a very bold decision there, because he could have kicked out at one point and regained priority, but he elected to up the ante and try and drop the 5.67.
I believe everyone on the beach understands how magnificent this is. It is a really heartwarming story, but not only that, but look at how stoked he is. He can't believe it. I mean, that was absolutely amazing surfing for him. And one of the things that I like specifically about Owen is that backhand vertical hit that he has. That one, he gets the fins to go out the back all in one motion, and it a la Wilco does kind of the same thing, but he'll drift around. But I mean, that's the point of difference for me with Owen, is that his variety changes with that backhand snap. It's like a whip. I mean, it's just non-stop with him.
Sorry, Pete, I was just watching the numbers roll through for Owen right here. He absolutely blitzed those big sections on the outside, and the numbers have dropped. An 8.57 for the Australian, and he is out in front now. Medina chasing a 9.57.
Then with 2 minutes to go, 2.5 minutes to go. But you see that whipping carve too? Watch this turn here where he lays into it, right? Look how compressed he gets and then extends out of it. That's so much power involved there. Beautiful stuff from Owen, and that's a point of difference. And that vertical where he gets the tail out of the top. I mean, you combine that on one wave, you can't deny it. You have to go excellent. And he knows it.
6'3", but such a beautiful, compact style through his maneuvers. Never looks lanky, never looks gangly until he stands up and waits for a section to stand tall, but amazing. And you see the size of those feet, so planted on his board. He wears a size 13 shoe. He is a big human, and he's taking off again here. 1 minute and 35 seconds to go. Let's see what he can do. Trying to get rid of a 7.17 to put it out of reach of Medina. He's not going to complete that first turn, though.
Kind of a tough section anyway. But, I mean, he literally just jumped off the ski and a couple strokes, those big, long arms, and he was right into a wave.
Well, there was tears after Owen's first round performance. If he can hang on here and get past Medina, he and Matt Wilkinson are going to make it rain at the end of this contest. There'll be so many tears.
8.57, Owen. He's asking for information.
So still focusing. Even with those big victories in the earlier rounds, we haven't seen too much emotion from him, have we, other than the kind of the elation when he hit the competitors area.
Well, in the post-heat interview, there was a little, you know, when he made the heat, he got a little choked up with Kaipo.
He's kept it together well, though.
He kind of have to. I mean, maybe he can go home and I mean, look at, it's just, yeah, maybe he can go home and have a good cry, you know, get it all out of emotion of happiness.
There is already a winner in the final of the Quicksilver Pro, and that's Glenn Hall. Because it looks as though he's going to have two surfers from his stable fighting it out for the title here at the Quicksilver Pro in 2017.
Do you see Elmo?
There's 10 seconds to go, and guaranteed Owen is nervous about Medina's chances still of getting a 9.57. Now he's starting to celebrate, and even Medina can't begrudge his good friend.
He knows. I mean, it's look at Tyler Wright. She's going to have some tears. Tears of joy. Man, oh man. I think I might have a little tear.
Tied it up, Pete. Come on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The final results for you on screen. 15.74, and a very dominant effort against one of the toughest competitors in the draw here at the Quicksilver Pro. Owen Wright has defeated Gabriel Medina. He'll take on Matt Wilkinson in the final at the first event. He has a chance of taking the ratings lead. And the crowd lapping up this moment. It is a special one. Just one more heat to surf on the Quicksilver Pro side.
Needs to contain himself slightly, right? I mean,
he looks
you're talking about the fact that this is going to be going into his third heat, and that right now would be good to kind of really just center yourself.
An amazing story playing out here. Regardless of who takes this final, it is going to be a remarkable story. Stick around for it. Up next, we've got the Roxy Pro kicking off. It's Lakey Peterson up against Stephanie Gilmore.